Oh shit, here we go again.
After taking the elevator at the top of Earthen Peak, we end up inside of a freaking volcano. In terms of world building, I'd say placing a volcano on top of a windmill is a pretty bold choice. But let's not judge the Iron Keep solely on this fact. After arriving and taking a small footstep on that bridge, you are immediately assaulted by the future bane of your existence, Alone Knights. Those enemies are very fast, have simple attacks, which, well, they aren't that bad on their own, but they can quickly become super frustrating if you fight several of them. Luckily for you, you can experience fighting several of them literally in the next 2 minutes after taking up this bridge. That is if you survive getting invaded twice right at the start of the area. After that, you'll have to progress very slowly to not get overwhelmed by all the ninjas, while carefully dodging the giant arrows. Honestly, this zone is much more challenging than the previous ones, but I'm not really sure it's that good of a thing, honestly, because you cannot just rush through the level here, or you'll get just destroyed every time. Dying is very frustrating, because there are so many Alone Knights everywhere. If you die, you need to fight them all again. It's just, wow. I think like the original idea seems good, you have to progress very slowly. Individually they're fine, but there are so many of them, so it becomes a challenge. It's fine like on your first try if you don't die too much, but if you start dying repeatedly, kinda like the Undead Purgatory runback, it becomes super frustrating. Since Alone Knights are very simple enemies, they have very few attacks, quickly becomes boring after fighting one of them for the 1000th times. I ended up killing the one at the start so many times that he literally stopped spawning, and I think they stopped spawning after like 10 kills, 11, 12 kills I think, I'm not really sure. Despite the frustration, managing to go through all those enemies to finally fight the Smelter Demon feels good, unless you die against it, which is going to happen, because the Smelter Demon isn't too bad, it's not that hard of a boss. His moveset is pretty simple too. However, the fact that when he enters second phase, he continuously chips down your health, combined with the pretty good amount of hit points he has, it makes him an actual threat, which means like, even if it's easy, you can still die at some point. We're humans, we can still make mistakes. And if we die against this guy, that means going back through the entire area again, which makes your frustration go up, which means you have higher chances of dying again, and this area will feel very bad for most players. Now, some of them will actually enjoy it, but it wasn't really my case. Like, I liked it, I liked the design and the challenge, but as I said, after fighting Alone Knights again and again, it's just, at some point, you just want to get the hell out of here. As for the Smelter Demon, I think it's actually a very solid boss, and I was pleasantly surprised to fight this guy, honestly. I think it's a really good boss. And a funny thing is that after defeating him, you can get invaded here by a pursuer, which is also a pretty nice encounter, so I like that. Now, one thing they could have done to prevent us from going through the entire area again is by adding shortcuts. Now, this is kinda complicated to do when the area is like a straight line, can't really make a shortcut from the start to the end, and well, the problem here is that the shortcut is unlocked after beating the Smelter Demon, because you literally unlock a bonfire after beating the Smelter Demon. You can progress to the next part of the area without fighting the Smelter Demon, but that means you don't have a bonfire. Or I guess you can try to unlock the one that leads to Belfry Soul, but it means you have to go through Belfry Soul every time you die, which is not that bad, but it still kinda sucks. Oh, and also another fun fact, if you kill the Smelter Demon, the enemies outside of its arena can then enter the arena and kill you, which means that you can literally die because of the enemies after killing the boss if you didn't light up the bonfire fast enough, which is just stupid. Enemies remembering you and pursuing you to the end of the earth is one of DS2's biggest problem, and it's like the opposite side of the must have been the wind. It's like, that wasn't the wind. I know exactly who this is, and I know exactly where they are, and I will follow them till I freaking kill them. It's kinda crazy. Now, making enemies stop pursuing you after losing track of you and decreasing the number of Alone Knights in the area, it would definitely help make the area better in a remake. But that's just the beginning, because it literally has a second part after that, and we'll talk about it. This second area has a bit of traps added to the mix. They're not that bad. Honestly, traps in Dark Souls 2 are not that bad in general. Like, there's nothing that bad that comes in my mind right now. Here, the traps in the first room are mainly like platforms standing above lava, and they will open themselves and let you fall in the lava if you step on the mechanism that activates them. Next, you have bull statues that breathe fire, which you can use against the enemies. You can use all the traps against the enemies in this area, which I think is great. Honestly, I think it's good. But now that I think about it, it was already the case in previous areas. Like the explosive barrels in the Lost Bastille, you could also use them against enemies. Now, I found this room to be both challenging and funny. You have to be careful because there are also a lot of enemies around. But you can just rush through it and wait after the bull statue to let them cook your enemies, literally. Yeah, there's quite a bunch of enemies all at once. They are manageable, and you can get rid of them in different ways. Like I said, the fire-spitting bull, or by making them fall into lava, or by just fighting them the regular way. After that, there's a circular room with stairs going down, and you get to fight more Alone Knights. Although fighting Alone Knights again and again is very tiring, it also makes sense for a castle to be filled with guards, and I guess the guards here are the Alone Knights. However, the lore of the keep tells us that the castle sank in the lava and was then exposed to the corruption of chaos, which is why the old Iron King is now a sort of demon thing. Why aren't any of the guards demon-like? You know, like the only demon you fight here is the Smelter Demon, and I guess you fought the Covetous Demon in the previous areas, but there's no other demon here. The only fire enemies related to Iron Keep are the Lava Salamander, and you don't even fight them here, which is weird. Now, I'm not complaining and saying I want to fight lava salamanders inside of Iron Keep, because I think the lava salamanders are absolutely horrendous enemies, mainly because of their tracking. Like, they always follow you without moving, which is really weird. But I was expecting more demonic entities here. Yeah, I know there's 2 bosses that are demonic, but that's not enough. Where are the demonic enemies? Like, fighting ninjas is one thing. Where are the demons? You know, like in Dark Souls 1. I'm not saying Dark Souls 1 demon areas were great. They were not really great. But at least you were fighting demons here and there. And also centipedes for some reason. Here, there's none of that. And that is the case for every Souls game, now that I think about it. Because in both Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3, the 2 demonic areas are unfinished. And were kind of rushed. And in Dark Souls 2, there's not even a proper... I guess you have Broom Tower, but it's not even demonic. Like, you have few enemies, sorcerers, soldiers. There's no demon. I guess you have Nadalia, which is kind of a demonic entity too, but where are the fucked up horrendous abominations, you know? Like, you can find some of them in Blackguards, I guess, but it's completely different atmosphere. Now, after fighting one last Alone Knight, you enter a corridor and come face to face with Turtle Guy. This enemy is also encountered in the Forest of Fallen Giants, which implies that the Iron King probably helped Vendrick fight the giants by sending some of his soldiers there. And I guess it also explains why the lava salamander can be found near the Forest of Fallen Giants, although there's none of them in the Iron Keep. It's a good point where the presence of an enemy helps to uncover the mystery and lore of the game. So here I guess it's pretty good. Turtle Guy is also pretty good enemy to fight, honestly. Yeah, it's fine. Now, after ending the life of the Turtle Ninja, you can process in the last room before the Old Iron King boss. This room contains a lot of fire-spitting statue, as well as a ladder that gives you access to a bonfire and a way to stop the statue from rocking. And I have to say something. Every single time I do a new Dark Souls 2 playthrough, every single time I get to this area, every single time I know there's a ladder somewhere in that room, and every single time I miss it, and I'm like, man, I was sure there was a ladder here. And I just go through the room, and I die to the freaking Old Iron Key by falling into the freaking hole in the area. And then I respawn at the start of the area. Not the start because I defeat the Smelter Demon every time. But I have to go through the second part of the area every time. And every time after killing the Old Iron Keep, I come back to the room with the bull. And I'm like, the ladder was here. And then I unlock the bonfire and I'm like, you know, sigh. Please, if you make a remake from Soft, make this ladder actually visible. It's crazy that I missed it every time. It's just insane, honestly. Good thing I beat the Smelter Demon every time, because if you don't beat the Smelter Demon and you skip this part 2, that means that if you die to the Old Iron King, you have to start from scratch the entire place, which means fighting a shit ton of Alone Knights again and again. If you keep doing this, at some point there's not going to be a single enemy left in the area, which is, well, I guess it would be funny if you do, so careful not to use a fire acid though. Anyway, let's talk about the Old Iron King now. It sucks hard. Its attacks are painfully slow. The design is nothing amazing. Like, look at the demons in Dark Souls 1, okay? Asylum Demon, Capra Demon, Turbis Demon, they're pretty cool looking, okay? What is the Old Iron King as a demon look like? It's a big guy with horns, and he has like a big bull jaw, and he breathes fire, and he punches you around. It's so lame, honestly. In this same game, in Dark Souls 2, you have the Covetous Demon, you have the Smelter Demon, you have the Demon of Song. Those three bosses are really cool in design. The Covetous Demon sucks, the Demon of Song is okay, and the Smelter Demon is good. But just in terms of design, they are pretty great designs for demons. Why the hell is the old Iron King so lame? Like, why? And the fight, it's so easy that they had to put a freaking hole in the arena so that you could fall into it every time. And every time you're like, nah, I'm not gonna fall into the hole, you know? And every time it happens and I die at least once because of the hole, it sucks so bad. My god, this guy is supposed to be a great soul, a prime soul, whatever the hell you want to call it. Why does it suck so much? The Lost Sinner is the first great soul you fight, so yeah, it's a bit too easy, doesn't have a second phase, but it's the first one, so okay, I can understand that. Duke Freya is pretty good, I liked it. And then you get that as the great soul fight. Like, even the Smelter Demon is better than this. Going through freaking Iron Keep, leaving this frustrating experience just to fight this creature at the end is absolutely miserable. If we look at its attacks, we have slow fire breathe, punches, more punches, and that's it. It's supposed to be a really strong character, a giant demonic figure with strong powers, and all it does is smashing you at the speed of a snail. This is the most disappointing area. Design of the arena, I mean the infrastructure, architecture, it's good. The enemies' design are good, but too many Hollow Knights, shortcuts hidden behind the boss. The boss is good, but the run back to it is ass. And then you have traps that are fine, but you fight more Hollow Knights, there's no demonic entities, there's not enough variation in the enemies in this area. And then you get this lame ass boss fight. It's sad. This area is so disappointing. Like, it looks cool, but it's just not good. So in a remake, I would drastically reduce the number of Hollow Knights, especially in the first area, to make the exploration bearable and at least a bit fun. Like, if you die twice or thrice or 3 times, at least, well, when you come back, it's okay. The Smelter Demon is good, but the old Iron King is ass. It needs a change. And I'm not just speaking about moveset. I mean, the entire design needs a change. Remove the hole in the ground, make the platform ladder, and then make the king, like, you can make him faster, its attack stronger, you can add some attacks, or you can just change completely the design. Make it like human sized, and then make him a cool as boss fight like Sorrowlone or Fume Knight. Those 2 fights are awesome. Why couldn't you do the same with this guy? Or give him a different demonic form, like a guy that resides in lava. You could do some stuff with that. He has wings, make him do something with his wings, I don't know. Do something, because it sucks so much. Next, make the ladder in the last room filled with the flame-breathing statue more visible, I beg you. And lastly, add a few more demonic enemies. Not lava salamanders, we have enough of that shit. No, actual demons, like the Smelter Demons, for example. They don't all need to be bosses or super strong enemies. You can make small demons, you know, like imps, for example. Last idea is that instead of fighting the old Iron King at the end of Iron Keep, you could get access to Chaos. You know, just like you go to Old Chaos in Elm Lois, you could reach the end of Iron Keep and then drop down to Chaos or some sort of demonic underworld, where you would fight all sorts of demons before fighting the old Iron King at the end. In Dark Souls 2, there are 3 demon bosses, as I said, Smelter, Covetous, and Song. Their design are really good, so I would expect the old Iron King to have great design as well, and it's just not the case right now. So overall, cool looking area. The elevator at the start still doesn't make sense. The enemies are fine in design, but in gameplay it sucks. Smelter Demon is good, Old Iron King is bad. Not enough demonic stuff, you need to change all that. Going through Underscopes, Harvest Valley, Undead Purgatory, Earthen Peak, just for that at the end, is disappointing, okay? You have everything you need. You have the design of the area, okay? You have the IDs, you can do something about it. From Soft ever do a remake, they can definitely change stuff, and they need to change stuff because it just sucks. Anyway, I'll stop here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you around. Bye!